All right, peeps. On today's episode of the Kung Fu Genius, the genius will not be answering all sorts of hot nonsense from YouTube. No gems. Lots of hot nonsense from Beardy. You know what? Let's just watch. Let's get to it.
And every day I practice martial arts.
Hey everyone, welcome to a special edition of the Kung Fu Genius podcast. Yes, it's me and Dre sitting on the same side of the camera this time. So all you conspiracy theorists who think we're never in the same room together, this is some very expensive CGI, all right?
That is
So
what
expensive.
it is.
Okay, so we did a video, what was it like last year? We did like Beardy's Bruce Lee bullshit, right?
Yeah, it was
And-
between episode 52 and 53.
Wow. All right. The real aficionado here on the Kung Fu Genius podcast. So, as many of you know, there's a channel on YouTube called the Beardy Bruce Lee Central. And yes, I know by talking about it, I'm going to help him get views. All right. I get it. It's the whole, what is it called? The Streisand effect. All right. Okay. So, but I don't really care. He has got a huge channel, undeservedly so. All right. I'm totally jealous because he basically just makes up stuff about Bruce Lee. And he has an army of 300 to 400,000 lapdogs that lap this stuff up. Now, the weird thing is, here on the Kung Fu Genius podcast, like on other podcasts that talk about Bruce Lee, Golden Bell, and other podcasts that discuss Wing Chun and Jeet Kune Do, you have people there who are seriously interested in Bruce Lee and his training methods and his real history, his films, all this kind of stuff. And then there's Beardy, who by all accounts goes by a fake name of Bernard McAllister. We checked that out last year. He claimed on different portions of his YouTube channel that he was a former MMA champion he was a champion in IFC, and I wasted a few hours of my life going through SureDog.com and looking for every instance of Bernard McAllister as a
getting those hours back. By the way.
I'm never getting those hours back, right? You know, if you live to be 76 years old,
How many hours?
that's 4,000 weeks, all right? And I feel that Beardy took about 2,000 off my life, all right? So anyway, I did not find a Bernard McAllister as a UFC fighter or MMA fighter who won anything or was a champion. And then I did find IFC, some league, which was like an Iranian league. And I looked through every single IFC fight, all the names, which were mostly Arabic names. There were very few Westerners on there, and there was no Bernard McAllister as a champion. So he's essentially a guy who's created a fake name. He's created a fake martial arts background.
I'm sure he wasn't counting on someone like you to do the research or
Well,
to do
certainly
the homework.
none of the 300 to 400,000 people who followed him even bothered to go, it's kind of weird. He never actually shows himself in any of the videos. Now, he claims that he shows himself in one video where he says that he trained like Bruce Lee for a year, where he became a manimal. You remember that?
Yes.
But then he showed two photos of him at the peak of being jacked.
Right.
But those photos were oddly headless. And what I think Beardy, he pronounces it Birdie.
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 What Birdie didn't realize is you can do a reverse Google image search. So I looked at the two photos. Remember, we even mentioned it on that video, like it looked like the nipples were suspiciously different on those
Different
two
nipples.
guys, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I did some.
Anyone could have saw that from a mile away.
I did some nipple identification. I was like, I don't
Identification.
think this is the same person. We did a reverse Google image search, and lo and behold, the two photos that Beardy claimed that were him during this training time where he was training like Bruce Lee for a year were in fact of two completely different people. I think one person was an athlete, the other person was like a personal trainer.
Okay.
Beardy apparently doesn't know you can reverse Google image search and find the original one. So we saw the heads. There were two different
He
people.
didn't use Bruce Lee's nipples in these.
Yeah, I'm surprised he just didn't use a photo of Bruce Lee with his head cut off and said, this was me after a year of training,
exactly.
right? So the
I would've
weird thing
went that
is,
route.
he's basically, he's the sign that if you really want to do well on YouTube, all you need to do is either be an outrage merchant, like some of these Wing Chun YouTube channels just identifying what they hate about every other Wing Chun that's not theirs, or you just need to just straight make shit up the whole time, right? But if you just want to have discussions about martial arts, like honest discussions, it's like you know, crickets chirping, right? But if you just make shit up, you're fine.
I've come to the conclusion that he is the master clickbaiter.
He's definitely a master baiter for sure. All right,
for sure.
So anyway, we did, Beardy's Bruce Lee bullshit. We did 2 videos. One was for Patreon only, which was basically just Dre and I reacting and just kind of clowning these guys' videos.
Kind of clowning.
And then the other one was where we had a slightly more serious discussion about the problem with Beardy. Like, now that Bruce Lee's been gone for so many years, the problem is the mystique of Bruce Lee has grown. The stories, kind of like people who believe that Yip Man beat 10 black belts or something like that, just because it was in a movie.
Well, that did happen.
Okay, that did happen in the movie. But the problem is that now, like, there's so much kind of BS about Bruce Lee, and which I think is overshadowing the real things that he did, which were really amazing. And then you have kind of bullshit farmers like Beardy who are just kind of like promoting all of this fake stuff, and of course all of his 400,000 lapdogs just lick it up. And if you write anything in the comments like that guy you said was Grandmaster Baxter, a Kempo master, is actually Dan Inosanto, he'll just delete you. All right, so that's so that's why when people go to his site and look at the comments, there are no dissenting comments in there, right? It's not like he's taking out trolls. Like, I'll delete trolls on our comments because sometimes my daughters look at the videos and there's some idiot on there writing some stuff. I don't want them to see that nonsense. But like, he'll just literally delete anybody who's like, that's actually Dan Inosanto in that video. Or people who put links to videos that actually debunk his stuff, he'll just like delete all that stuff, right?
Man.
So anyway,
so he's like all the time deleting.
Yeah, all the time, all the time.
So time consuming.
So people have been, people loved our Beardy's Bruce Lee bullshit episode, and people are like, when are you going to do it again? Because he's back at it. All right, he's been making new videos, and so our followers kind of put in the comments like, hey, did you see this or whatever? And the thing is, no, I don't actually watch any of those videos. I don't subscribe to him. I consume very little Wing Chun content on YouTube, much to the chagrin of some of our followers. They're like, oh, did you hear what this guy said? It's like, I literally don't watch that stuff because I don't care. If you watch my YouTube, if you look at my YouTube algorithms, it's all Marvel stuff and serial killers. I'm really into Jeffrey Dahmer these days.
He doesn't watch it, but what he does is he locks Dre and I in a room, Clockwork Orange style, and makes us watch it.
Oh, he opens your eyes and forces you to watch it.
That's what the KFG does.
So anyway,
save us.
There are a bunch of videos. I've been told that one of the videos that he did recently was, he said there was some lost video that he uncovered, and it was the Ted Thomas interview, which we actually did an episode on last year. Yeah. And also the interesting thing about Beardy is...
He uncovered it on our channel.
Yeah, the interesting thing, that thing was been on YouTube for a very long time. Well, the interesting thing about Beardy is that he gives his followers the impression that, one, that he's like the #1 source about Bruce Lee, even though he's never written a book about Bruce Lee. No Bruce Lee authors ever consult him. The Lee estate does not mention Beardy as a source of anything. And he also claims that he like finds this stuff and he has this stuff and he's the guy with the access to it, right? It's pretty clear. I think he is either Scandinavian or maybe he's Dutch.
Okay.
He's definitely from Europe, and he's
one of my peoples.
Full of shit. Yeah, definitely one of your peoples. All right. So anyway, we have not watched any of these. Have you and I watched any of Beardy's videos since last time?
I'm not up to date. No.
No. Okay.
I've seen all of them.
You've seen all of them. Clockwork Orange style. All right. So we are going to watch a few of his videos, and we're going to react to it in real time. We have not prepared any notes. I have no idea what his videos are about. So let's take a look.
Yeah, let's get to it. I'm so excited.
The best.
So now we got Bruce Lee's lost interview. Quote, if you want to beat me, baby, you have to kill me. 94K views 1 month ago. All right. Birdie Bruce Lee Central.
Bro.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Hey, Kung Fu Genius listeners, if you're a Wing Chun practitioner, especially from the WT or Leung Ting line, and want to get really personalized immersion training with me, you can now apply to do an immersion course with me here in NYC, or if you like the sun, in my Florida home near Orlando. These courses are for instructors or anyone who's serious about learning the art in detail and working hard. I teach in program blocks like Siunam Tao, Chamkyu, Buji, Wooden Dummy, and those include the Chi Sao theory, fighting applications, and training methods as well. If you're really serious about learning Wing Chun, check out the link in the description below to find out about applying for a spot. For those of you who are not quite ready to do full private immersion training, you can also apply for a spot at either our winter or summer intensive training camps. We have a few spots available for non-city Wing Chun students, so apply today. A link for those options are in the description below. And now back to me. All right, so let's take a look here.
Welcome to Beardy, Bruce Lee Central.
Hey everybody, it's Birdie here. What's going on, guys? Okay, so this interview here was thought to be lost forever until I found it.
This interview was thought to be lost forever until I found it. Okay. Wow. First of all, the screenshot that he has here is Bruce Lee with Robert Chiu.
It's not Ted Thomas.
No, that's not Ted Thomas. Robert Chiu is this gentleman. Robert Chiu is actually one of my Facebook friends.
Okay, Robert Chiu.
And he actually was responsible for doing the first interview with Bruce Lee in Hong Kong when Bruce Lee first came there when he was trying to do films. So Bruce Lee came when he kind of wasn't getting anywhere with Hollywood. Yeah, and he did an interview with Robert on, I think it's called Entertain Yourself Tonight. It was kind of like a nightly show or like a variety show kind of thing, right? And then it was then, I think, either Lo Wei or Lo Wei's son or Raymond Chow, someone who had seen it and then showed Raymond Chow, like, hey, you got to get this guy Bruce Lee. So it was because of this interview that Bruce Lee got the job. But as far as I know, there's actually no recording of this interview anywhere. All right, they only have photos.
Years ago in my archives.
In his archives.
And I've been restoring it ever since.
Oh, they've been in his archives ever since. His archives being YouTube for the last 15 years.
The reason it's taken so long is because the audio was so bad you couldn't hear anything. So it's taken us a while, and now it's finally done. And
okay. So the reason
edited it.
So the reason why you weren't able to hear this interview is because the original audio was so bad, but his crack team of audio engineers in his mom's basement.
They're really good, man.
Yeah, they
in his mom's basement.
Yes, they fixed it.
What?
And now for the first time, you can listen to this interview, which has most likely been on YouTube for 15 years.
Okay, I got a confession to make.
Yes.
I'm the crack team.
Oh,
yes,
the audio
yes.
better. I'm not
Emphasis
being paid
on
well
crack.
enough. Oh yeah, exactly. That's why.
All right, okay, let's see here.
this is one of the most important interviews, maybe the most important interview in Bruce Lee's life ever.
Most important
Because he
interview in
talks
Bruce Lee's
about
life, maybe
I agree
ever.
with him.
issues, being challenged to fights in Hong Kong, and his famous quote, "I have no fear." So here we go, guys. Enjoy.
Bruce, as a screen tough guy, you're...
Wait, his famous quote about "I have no fear," the quote that everyone has heard because they've heard this interview already, all right? But now for the first time you can hear it. Now I'm listening to it, it's Ted Thomas, all right? So I don't know if Birdie knows that Chinese guy that was interviewing Bruce Lee previously, all right, Robert Chiu, is not this clearly British dude talking to Bruce right now, okay?
You have to suffer what all movie heroes suffered. Challenges from exhibitionists and nuts asking you to fight, challenging you to fight. It's already begun to happen, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
How do you deal with it?
When I first learned martial arts, I too have challenged many established instructors.
Yes. So this is the Ted Thomas interview. And if you want an honest discussion about this interview and what it entails, we actually covered this episode, or we covered this interview already. So if you want an actual discussion about what's going on here, that is, and this interview was by no means lost. Snippets of it have been used in Bruce Lee documentaries from time immemorial, like from the beginning of it, from the time he died. They've been using snippets of this. This is nothing secret or lost. And this the audio quality, this is exactly the audio from YouTube.
Well, maybe it was lost for him. Maybe he had it and then he lost it.
What if we just did a video where we say we had the lost Beardy interview? All right, and then we just, I don't know, put an interview with Hulk Hogan from 1984 that everyone has seen, and we just said our crack team of engineers had to fix this
Make sure
audio
you cut
here.
his head off first.
Oh man.
Okay, so look, so he bullshits for about a minute about this interview, shows a photo of Bruce with another person from another interview, completely unrelated.
Yeah.
This was, from what I understood, a radio interview. All right, the one with Ted Thomas.
Yeah.
Whereas the Robert Chiu one, the photo that he showed was an actual TV interview. And then let me guess, so he bullshits for about a minute, and then he just plays something that's been on YouTube for a dog's age with no insight or commentary or anything. He cannot even tell you like who Ted Thomas is. By the way, you know, Ted Thomas was a broadcaster in Hong Kong. And one of the things he was famous for is he did a lot of dubbing for Kung Fu films. Okay?
Wow.
So when you listen to Ted Thomas's voice, you will actually hear that he's like the guy who dubbed a lot of that stuff. As a matter of fact, I think even the Wu-Tang sampled some Kung Fu movies where it's actually Ted Thomas. Like, if you want to fight, 1-to-1, man-to-man, you know that one?
Okay.
That, I believe, is actually Ted Thomas. Now listen.
Opponents or practitioners, are you able to take care of yourself? What do you say?
Man-to-man. All right.
Well,
That is Ted Thomas.
We might be giving Beardy a little bit too much credit here, but maybe he's watched a couple of Kung Fu movies, heard that voice, and thought, that Chinese guy has that voice.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
know what I
Beardy
mean?
probably thought. I think Ted Thomas has done the voice for like Huang Zhanglei, who was the villain in Drunken Master, the Korean actor. He probably thinks like, yeah, which is funny because it's not even a Chinese actor. It's like a Korean actor, right? That he often did the voice for, and he'd be like, yeah, see? That must be him, right? Yeah, I mean, this is actually a very interesting interview where Bruce Lee talks about challenge fights and being challenged when he's in Hong Kong, especially once he became a big star.
Yeah.
And it seems like he alludes a little bit to Lao Dai Chun, because he mentions Lao Dai Chun in the Dan Lee conversation. But in this one, he talks about, you know, just like people, I think, trying to make a name off of him or whatever. If you actually want to hear about this interview, I mean, we did this one already in season 1. We'll put a link for it somewhere, maybe at the end of this episode or in the description. You can hear that. Okay, so basically, he's just playing the Ted Thomas interview. Okay, that's all he did. Now, let's see. Does
what he says at the end.
Beardy add anything at the end?
Is that I do have a bad temper.
I do have a bad temper,
A
yes. Thank you.
violent temper, in
Thank you,
fact.
Beardy, for
Not
letting us hear that. No.
Bruce Lee as
Look,
he is.
he doesn't add anything. All right, look.
He doesn't.
This is unbelievable. All right, look.
Oh wow.
He got 94,000 views in 1 month on a video where he bullshit for a minute. All right, about him being the one who found it.
That's a knee slapper.
You have to realize how unbelievably absurd this is, okay? He claims that he found an interview which has been available on YouTube for a dog's age, in the same exact quality that he's playing it in. The quality wasn't bad before. It's the same video. It's the same
bullshit
audio,
artistry.
right? He bullshits for 1 minute, pretends he's the one who found it. It's in his archives. He restored it, whatever, and then just plays the interview for the rest of the video. All right, plays a snippet of that interview.
He restored it. That's amazing.
Yeah, he plays, you know, like 3.5 minutes of an interview that's been out for dog's age, right?
Wow.
That is how you get 100K views in a
This
month.
guy's good, man.
Man, dude, I'm busting my ass talking about Wing Chun and all this kind of stuff, and like, no.
Yeah.
I got the formula wrong. All right.
yeah.
You know, we have a
Clearly.
second channel now. We have a KFG Clips.
KFG
Which
Clips.
what we're gonna do is start doing just shorter form versions for the ADD generation that does not want to sit through an hour and 15 podcast.
True.
And I think I should just make a bunch of videos like this and just put it on there. And then we can create a playlist called KFG's Clickbait Bullshit.
Clickbait
And it'll just
bullshit.
be me saying, like, I found this Bruce Lee interview.
Literally.
And it's just Bruce Lee, the lost interview,
Just
and
put
just
it
play
out
the
there.
whole thing. All
Clickbait
right?
bullshit.
Yes. Yeah, call it that. I'm sure it'll
Yeah.
do great.
And
All right. Okay, so here we got Bruce Lee destroys 6
Did
opponents.
you just rate that a 5?
Yes, I did. Bruce Lee...
The fuck?
No, it's asking
Why would
me
you
to
rate
rate
it a
the
5?
YouTube app. It asks for the YouTube app there.
just
Yeah,
making sure.
Yeah,
Got
that's how they catch you.
Nothing escapes Dre's attention there. You just rated it 5 stars. The YouTube app, and no, I said not now is what I clicked. Okay, all right.
Just making sure.
Yeah,
Just making
his
sure.
attention to detail is second only to his ability to clean up audio in Bruce Lee videos. All right, so so now we got Bruce Lee destroys 6 opponents on Hong Kong rooftop. Now the interesting thing
is that real?
So I have read pretty much every book there is about Bruce Lee. I even have books about Bruce Lee that are written in Chinese. I've had the opportunity to see a lot of the stuff he wrote in his daytimers, like shortly before he came to the States in 1959.
Is that even a photo of Bruce Lee?
It is. Oh. Calm down, Nifka. All right, this is from the photos that were later used for Bruce Lee's fighting method. All right? And these are staged photos, and these are also 2 of the same photos next to each other, so I don't understand why he just doubled up the same photo. But anyway, yeah. No. So that's from a photo shoot. So the thing is that Bruce Lee never told anyone that he destroyed 6 opponents on a Hong Kong rooftop. One of the best books for finding out about Bruce Lee's time in Hong Kong, although it's not like the best written, is just the late Jesse Glover's book, Bruce Lee Between Wing Chun and Jeet Kune Do. Because in that book, Jesse Glover basically just tells all the stories that Bruce Lee told him about his time in Hong Kong. And a lot of those stories concern the late Wong Sun Leung, they concern William Cheung, and the different fights and stuff like that, and fights that he had and stuff. And there's nothing in there where he says he beat 6 opponents. So
destroyed them.
If Bruce Lee didn't say this, all right? And then in his daytimer, shortly before he came to the U.S., he talked about the fight that he had supposedly with a Choi Lei Fut expert, but it's really a Northern Shaolin expert. It was a student of Long Chi-chun. I know Long Chi-chun's son, Long Kai-meng. He's a friend of mine in Hong Kong. He's a very old guy. Yeah, his father was Long Chi-chun. He was a Northern Shaolin master. Yeah. And in Bruce Lee's daytimer, he said he fought a student of Long Chi-chun. And he knocked the guy's tooth out, but he got a black eye. All right, and he was like kind of pissed off that he got a black eye. And this was just a few weeks after he beat Gary Elms in the boxing match.
Okay.
And it seems
Pretty
that fight. No, it's right before he goes to the States.
Yeah.
And it seems that fight he had with it's not he said Choi Lei Fut, but it's actually a Northern Shaolin expert or practitioner or whatever, is the reason why he had to kind of leave Hong Kong. And that fight was on Union Road in Kowloon City. And if you come on the 2023 Ultimate Hong Kong Kung Fu Tour with the Kung Fu Genius, and we have some extra time on the Bruce Lee Day, we will go to Union Road in Kowloon City.
Check out that spot where the guy's tooth fell out.
That's right.
Blood
it's still there.
Hit the cement.
The tooth is still there. No one has moved it.
No one's moved it.
All right, so let's see. Bruce Lee destroys 6 opponents on Hong Kong rooftop. Let's hear this story.
Welcome to Beardy, Bruce Lee Central.
Hey everybody, it's Birdie here.
Birdie here.
What's going on, guys? Okay, so today is a very special day.
Today is a very special day.
I have a very special story for you guys, exclusively on this channel. So every day I get emails from all over the world.
Every day he gets emails from all over the world, but how?
People that
He's not even a real person.
People that want to share stories, and people that actually met Bruce Lee and want to share their story.
Oh yeah, people who met Bruce Lee share stories with him.
He's such a liar.
He's such a liar. He's literally he's that kid in school who just made shit up. You know my dad owns the road, right?
He's a flapper.
Yeah. So I can tell you to like go on your side of the street because my dad owns the road.
I lost my virginity to someone in Canada, but I can't remember their name.
That's right.
Email in Cantonese.
She was really hot too.
And
you'll never
obviously
meet
I can't read Cantonese, so I use Google Translate and I translate the email. And
he translated the email from Cantonese. Beardy also speaks Chinese. Although, what he doesn't realize is that you don't actually translate from Cantonese. It's written in Chinese. Okay? All right? Now, maybe the person wrote it with Cantonese slang or something like that, but you don't say, I translated the Cantonese like from an email, okay? Because that... there's no written language called Cantonese. It's Chinese, all right? And if Beardy could actually read Cantonese slang written in Chinese, I will literally quit and become a hermit and move to Tibet, all right?
Half of his father, and that his father has some information he wants to share with me. And I'm like, okay, sure. And he set up kind of this interview where we have a correspondence back.
I love the way he tells stories where he's like, and I'm like, sure. And then we do like it's like you're clearly making this up as you speak.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? There's something very like populist about the way this guy is talking.
Forth. And it turns out that this guy had a story to tell about Bruce Lee because he was now on his deathbed and he had kept this story to himself for all these years.
Oh, that's interesting. The guy tells the story because he was on his deathbed, meaning that there's no one to corroborate this story, all right? Yeah. So even Beardy's fake sources die so that they cannot call him out on his bullshit.
Oh, if he's on his deathbed, how did he have the energy to send an email?
Yeah, and to send an email in Cantonese, no less, all right? Because standard Chinese keyboards usually don't write Canto slang. You would have to do that with your mobile phone, and it would be very rare that an old guy on his deathbed would be writing Canto
Obviously,
slang.
the guy has a secretary with him.
Obviously.
And he didn't want to keep it to himself in case he died because he was old and on his deathbed. So he wanted to share this.
In case he died, but he was on his deathbed. He didn't want to keep it. He's on his deathbed. It was like, in case I die.
Just in case you die. Yeah.
I'm on my. What do you think you do on your deathbed?
Yo.
All right?
Yo, in case
do you
you
live
die,
another 30 years on your deathbed?
You're on your deathbed, but just in case you die, you should send this email to Beardy real quick, because he's the guy who's going to put this
not to Shannon Lee, not to Linda Lee, not to John Little, not to anyone who actually knew Bruce Lee or gives a crap. No. To this phony ass dude on YouTube.
He's the man.
Before it was too late. So I had a correspondence for months with this guy.
Months? So he wasn't really dying.
He wasn't dying. I verified this guy, and he is completely legit. Everything he says is 100% legit.
I think he was completely legit.
A completely illegit, yeah. Because I thought he said illegit, which seems like the perfect word to describe Birdie. He's illegit.
Yeah, no, I think he meant to say legit, but it's like because he's making shit up on the spot.
Yeah,
like
he's kind of smothering words together.
He meant to say too legit.
Too legit to quit.
Yes.
All right.
I wish he would.
When I found out via my contacts in Hong Kong that this guy is actually 100% legit, that's where I actually...
He found out via his contacts in Hong Kong. Oh my God. What I wouldn't do to just have access to Beardy's mobile phone for 10 minutes.
Or his Rolodex.
Yes. I would love to see who his Hong Kong contacts are. All right?
Don't leave it with me.
Yeah.
I started getting really interested because the story that he told me is, I mean, it's game-changing.
Game changing. What game does it change? What game does it change? It's going to change the game.
Not b-ball, not soccer.
You know what's crazy? It's the narcissism of this guy to think that like what he's bringing out is going to revolutionize the world, but also knowing that he's just making shit up. Yeah. Like he's got one thing you got to give him. He's got a pair of balls on him, man. But also he doesn't because he just hides and he's got a fake name and he never shows his face. So he's actually
hidden balls.
Kind of a bitch.
Everything about Bruce Lee, everything that I knew about Bruce Lee in Hong Kong. Because, at the time, Bruce Lee in Hong Kong was 18 years old and he was a boxing champion. He was a college boxing champion.
Wait, he's college boxing champion in high school. He was a college boxing champion in high school. He had one fight. He beat Gary Elms. It was an intramural
college boxing champion in high school.
God, what he just doesn't get anything.
You can see the steam beginning to rise out your ears.
Boxing champion in Hong Kong, basically making him the best boxer, Western boxer in China.
Oh my God! All right. Okay. Look. I am as big of a Bruce Lee fan as anyone, okay? But Bruce Lee had one match against a guy named Gary Elms.
He's 1-0.
Who was like the previous champ in this like high school league. He was from King George the 5th High School, and Bruce was from St. Francis Xavier. And Bruce had one match and he beat him. He beat him on points. He didn't knock him out, but it was a good learning experience for Bruce. It's also part of the reason why Bruce, he loved boxing and he respected boxing, but he also didn't like the medium of the rules and the gloves and all that kind of stuff. And he was kind of upset that he couldn't put Gary Elms away, but he still beat Gary Elms. Okay? It was one fight. But to now say that Bruce Lee was the best boxer in China also shows you that Beardy also doesn't understand that Hong Kong was a British colony at that time, and it's kind of weird to equate Hong Kong as all of China. And certainly Bruce Lee was not the best boxer in either China or Hong Kong in 1959. He won a match in high school in his weight class. Okay, let's take it easy.
No, but Gary Elms was the man to beat. And to be the man, you have to beat the man.
Oh, that's right.
That's where his
Gary
thought-
Elms was the Tyson slash Liston slash Foreman of high school. But white. Okay?
Exactly.
And Bruce rope-a-doped him, and then
Gary Elms could play Tyson in the movie.
Easily, even though he passed away.
Right.
All right,
Sicily Tyson.
White Tyson.
Sicily Tyson. All right, let's go.
So he was going around having tournaments all around in China. He never lost a match. I think he ended up becoming 23-0 was his official.
Wait, what did he say his record was?
Going around having tournaments all around in China. He never lost a match. I think he
Bruce Lee never once went to mainland China as he was growing up. It was not easy to go to China during those times. Especially in the 1950s. Shortly after the Second World War, there was not a lot of going back and forth between Hong Kong and China. It's not like now. Now it is quite normal. Obviously, it's been that way for a very, very long time. But this idea that, like, what Bruce was like, as a teenager, was taking flights to Beijing to go fight. It's ridiculous.
ended up becoming 23-0.
23-0. How about 1-0, dude? 1-0. Okay. Look, I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan, but Bruce Lee would be the first person to tell you, Birdie, you're full of shit. Okay. He had one fight. All right. One boxing fight. Okay. Other fights, informal scraps with other kung fu people. But 23-0 and all over China. Yeah. Bruce was going to Shanghai. Do you know what Shanghai looked like in 1959?
Where did he find the time between homework?
He didn't really do homework. He was
Cha-cha
a shitty
dancing.
student. Yeah, cha-cha dancing.
He had all these
Chasing
different hobbies
girls,
as
Wing
a
Chun
teenager.
class, all that kind of stuff, right? No,
Where
but
did he find the time?
He was taking a private jet to Beijing, to Shanghai.
He was taking that Kylie Air.
Yeah, so let's see. What else? All right.
Stats, something like that. Or maybe 33-0, I can't remember.
Oh, maybe 33-0. No, you can't remember. You can't remember because you're making it up. All right, look, we are 3 minutes into a 17-minute video, and I'm done. I'm done. All right? Maybe he would 23-0, maybe 33-0, all over China. Bruce did not go to China. He lived in Hong Kong, which was a British colony, and it was not normal to travel to China at that time. And Bruce, if he ever did in fact go to China, would have only gone maybe over the border to Shenzhen or Sandak, where his father's family's from, and that's it. He was not going to Beijing, not going anywhere else. This is complete gibberish. This is just made up. He doesn't even understand the difference between Hong Kong and China in the 1950s. This guy is an absolute ignoramus.
You know what I'm smelling right now?
What?
You smell it?
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
And he became the champion. And this story starts out where Bruce Lee was about to have a tournament. And this guy that's on his deathbed, he was a teacher, a boxing teacher, and he had his own boxing school. And they were going around the country having boxing tournaments.
They were working around the country having boxing tournaments. Do you see, listen how vague his language is? He has no dates, no facts. Around the country of Hong Kong, which was basically a city-state country, around it. That's kind of like, just imagine for a moment that New York, okay, and 5 boroughs, for whatever reason, was an independent country.
We can only dream.
Okay, and then you said something like, this guy traveled all over the country of New York City. Like, one day they'd be in like Staten Island, and the next day they'd be like in the Bronx, okay? Wow. All right, and then I heard even like on the 3rd day, sometimes they would even go to Queens. It was insane. It was an insane hustle.
Traveling.
Can you imagine? All over the country. One day, they had a boxing match in Wan Chai. Yeah. The next day, they had it in Mongkok. Oh, man. That was at least a 30-minute ride on the bus with the ferry.
You have to have a private jet for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I want to know the name of the boxing teacher and the boxing school.
Yes, me too.
That's what I want to know.
Well, that's also the thing. When Beardy makes up these stories, the boxing teacher doesn't have a name. The tournament doesn't have a name. And he says all over the country, he's somehow implying China. Do you understand the state of mainland China in 1958, 1959? Okay? Like people literally dying from famines, okay? All right? The country is going through a cultural revolution. They are not having boxing matches in every corner of China where people are coming internationally to fight. This is absolute gibberish.
This boxing teacher or boxing coach probably was going on some Prince-like shit where he had to change his name to Nameless.
Oh, right.
So,
the artist formerly known as Boxing Coach.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that
He
seems
was
legit.
bringing this
Sorry,
fighter
I'm
to
just
this
saying.
tournament, this elite tournament, and Bruce Lee was the reigning champion. And this guy, this sensei, he...
Oh my God, this guy is sensei. Oh my God. He just called a boxing coach a sensei. All right?
No.
Come on, Beardy. Come on, Beardy. Are you even fucking trying? A boxing coach is not a sensei. You fucking ignoramus.
I love it.
Oh my God.
I can't
I'm
defend
dying.
that one.
I'm
And
dying.
he said that his fighter was best because not only did he know boxing, he knew Chinese Kung Fu, so Chinese boxing as well. And he said that his fighter is invincible, he can't lose, he's the best fighter in the country, etc., etc. And he was going to take down Bruce Lee. That was the whole goal of this fighter. And so they get to this tournament, and Bruce Lee is there because he's the reigning champion. He's defending his championship.
He's defending his championship, which he won from Gary Elms in a high school.
Yeah.
All right. But he was 23 or 33-0 or something like that. And they're fighting at a tournament that doesn't have a name, somewhere in China or not China, Hong Kong or not Hong Kong. We don't know.
Let's remain nameless.
Yeah, it's all vague.
Yeah, with a fighter that wants to take him down.
Yeah.
But we don't know his name.
Fuzzy Memories by Beardy.
His belt. And basically, long story short, Bruce Lee completely humiliates this guy. He wins the fight with ease. And the guy he fought was, he simply wasn't good at boxing.
Okay. All right.
Wait,
So
that's the fighter's name, Ease.
yes, Ease. All right. Sounds like a weird rapper from the 90s.
He won the fight with ease.
Yo, check out it's Ease over there. Yo, he's spitting bars. All right. No, you know what's weird? It's like, first of all, there's so many photos of Bruce Lee. All right. If Bruce Lee had been a 23 or 33-time boxing champion, how come we don't have more photos of him holding medals, holding trophies? If he humiliates, and you know what's weird? It's like he goes, "Oh, this guy's hell bent on beating Bruce Lee," you know, and oh, he knows boxing and Chinese kung fu, and then Bruce Lee humiliates him because he wasn't that good at boxing. It's like his story's not even good, dude. If you want to make up a story, you got to make this guy an absolute killer who's the best boxer, knows all the kung fu's, and Bruce Lee still beats his ass. But you don't go like, this guy wants to beat Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee humiliates him because he wasn't that good in boxing. That's not creating a compelling narrative, Beardy, all right? There need to be stakes for the protagonist, right? If the protagonist beats someone who's not really that good, that doesn't make for a really good story, all right? So we need to work on your story skills.
Or not.
He was probably really good at Chinese Kung Fu, but not at boxing, because Bruce Lee just pummeled him.
But you see, he says like he was probably good. But the thing is, he doesn't, like, even in his fake narrative, he can't help but like admit that he doesn't know stuff, but then yet still claim stuff as knowledge, right? This is classic on-the-fly fabrication kind of stuff. This is every boy went to elementary school with a kid who talked like this, whose dad was a secret agent, all right, and owned the street. And and was like secretly a millionaire, but they couldn't show it. Like everyone went to school with a kid who told stories like this. All right.
So I worked with a guy who was like, I think I was like, about 6 years, like almost 30, who was exactly the same.
Yeah.
And when he wasn't getting attention, he would come up with some of the most wild bullshit stories.
Yes.
And we just listen there and go, You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're always so narcissistic. It's just
Always.
like
It's what it is.
R.I.P. Ephraim. Ephraim was my.
That was your boy?
Yeah, that was my boy. He was a straight liar.
For me, it was Donnie.
Yeah.
He lived across the street. and he said that his dad owned the street because his dad paid taxes. and so he could tell me that I couldn't be on the street because his dad owned the street because his dad paid taxes.
No.
Turns out his dad didn't pay taxes and went to jail.
Oh.
All right, here we go.
And this did not sit well with the teacher. Not well at all, because he was humiliated.
Humiliated.
He was. It was a disgrace to his entire school. He'd gone around saying that he has the best fighter in the country. He's going to beat the reigning
all right. So
champion.
this is going nowhere. We're almost 5 minutes into a 17-minute video.
Damn.
And I smell nothing but horse manure. All right.
It feels like
so
it's been 17 minutes.
I know, guys.
Bullfrog shit.
All right. So now we got Chuck Norris reveals the biggest secret from his fight with Bruce Lee. Didn't know that they actually had a fight. All right. Knew that they had trained together, but had a fight. Are you talking about the fight from Way of the Dragon?
Maybe that's what he's referring to.
You do know, Beardy, that was not a real fight, right?
Damn.
Okay. All right, let's see here.
Cat won that fight anyway.
Welcome to Beardy.
The Beardy channel.
Hey everybody, it's Birdie here.
Birdie
What's
here.
going on, guys? Okay, so Chuck Norris, we all know him, we all love him, and I managed to find an old VHS tape, and I just restored it, and it turns out that there's an interview with Chuck Norris on that VHS tape, and
Turns out that there's an interview with Chuck Norris on that VHS tape. It's in the VHS extras.
That he just restored.
Yeah, that he just restored.
No, he had his team restore it, though.
You know what? I mean, he's probably making a killing on YouTube, but he could definitely make a dude, if he can restore VHSs.
Yeah.
I
You hire him.
kill it. I'd hire him. I got
Yeah.
tons of VHSs
Yeah.
I need restoring.
We need you to
me
restore
too.
that
But
shit.
like they
I got
probably
TV
shouldn't.
shows recorded from
Yo,
the 80s.
We need him to restore that
I've
stuff.
got specialist videos from Germany from the 80s.
Oh, you got specialist videos
that need to be
from
restored.
Germany? Yeah.
That I
All
want
right.
on DVD.
Yeah.
For other reasons.
Beardy, if you're watching, you want to make an extra buck, contact Sifu.
That's
we'll
right.
Get you,
And you can restore the Scheisse videos that he has from Germany.
he's talking
Okie dokie.
about his big fight with Bruce Lee on Way of the Dragon, and he actually reveals one of the biggest secrets from that fight. So here, guys, take a look.
That movie cost $145,000 to produce. It's grossed over $60 million worldwide.
All right, so this is an interview with Chuck Norris. Does look like it's from
It does
VHS,
look like Chuck Norris.
But if this is the, it does look like Chuck Norris. This is not Beardy in a wig. I like that's what you said. It's like it does. I was gonna say it does look like it's from VHS. You're like it does look like Chuck Norris. Like wait,
So
Dre.
far.
No one is actually disputing that that's Chuck Norris,
Okay.
but that was a great observation. It does look like Chuck Norris. All right, okay. You
I'm
should work for
looking
the
at him.
Beardy
I'm
channel.
clearly looking
all right?
at him.
Can you imagine if the two of you made up stories on that
Oh
channel?
my
It'd
God.
be great. Yeah,
oh my God.
awesome.
I aspire.
But basically, it's some interview with Chuck Norris where he's saying like, "Way the Dragon had a budget of $145,000 and it grossed $60 million."
Have you ever seen this video?
I may have. I mean,
you
I'm
ever
not a
seen the
huge
movie?
Chuck Norris aficionado. I have a certain type of phobia against mustaches. Okay, let's go.
It's amazing, huh?
You're glad you're in it.
Yeah, of course I am, because I enjoyed working with Bruce Lee in the film. It was a lot of fun. The fight scene is considered the classic martial art fight scene of all time. So it's nice to be involved in.
That's true. So I mean, again, like all the best stuff that Beardy ever has is stuff of other people, right? The thing is that he always kind of bullshits about how he got it or what it is or what it actually means. But that was kind of actually cool. You know, Chuck Norris says like he loved doing that fight scene with Bruce, and it's considered like a quintessential fight scene or whatever, which is true.
Yeah.
And I don't think Chuck Norris ever looked better on film than when he fought Bruce Lee. It really shows you that you need a good dance partner to pull it off.
Yeah,
you know what I
Dancing
mean?
with the Stars and
And you know, when you see Chuck Norris, for example, fight a martial arts dynamo like David Carradine, well, then it's definitely not quite the same as, you know, say when he was fighting Bruce Lee, right?
All right.
Although,
Damn.
you know, as I've said before, one of the things that does endear Chuck Norris to me slightly is he did have a really great line after he did the movie Lone Wolf McQuade with David Carradine in an interview.
Yeah.
Which was, you know, they asked him what he thought of David Carradine as a martial artist, and Chuck Norris said, in a very funny, self-deprecating way, that David Carradine is as good of a martial artist as he is an actor. All right, so, okay? And so I just thought, okay, Chuck definitely got some points for that. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's see, where does this go?
Fight scene that everyone. In fact, I got a letter. I've gotten thousands of letters fan letters from that movie. And I got a letter one time a guy wrote, because there's a scene where I throw Bruce to the ground and he grabs the hair on my chest and like he pulls it out, right? Well, of course he doesn't for real, but I get a letter from this man and he says he and his son had seen Return of the Dragon 26 times. And he says, I've got to ask
They weren't selling ice creams in the stores.
Pardon me?
They weren't selling ice creams in the stores. So
It's amazing. People have seen this movie so many times. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've gotten letters where people have seen it 18, 19, 20 times. And because of the fight scene. But he says, did Bruce really pull the hair out of your chest? He said, if he did, you're really a stud. So I wrote back and said, no, not for real.
Did Bruce really pull?
It's what
Okay,
it
so the
is.
big takeaway from this video is that Bruce Lee did, in fact, not really pull the chest hair off of Chuck Norris. That was, in fact, movie magic. Thank you, Beardy.
So not the
All right.
cat.
Thank you for restoring that video. Okay, so
Man.
what do we got here? Bruce Lee versus Bully. Bully gets brutally punished. All right, but this video only has 9.8K views
That's
1 month.
weird.
Yeah, that's like KFG territory
Yeah.
right there. Well,
Yeah,
no, it's
what's up
actually
with
it's
that?
actually better than KFG territory. Yeah. Okay, let's go here. Hey, Kung Fu Genius listeners, if you're looking for an easy way to support this podcast, please consider joining the Kung Fu Genius Patreon. You can support for as little as $5 a month and get access to episodes a few days early. Higher levels of support get additional goodies, exclusive content, and even your name in the description. The baller level of support will give you the opportunity to be a Dre for a day and give me a rest from this guy over here. A link for the Kung Fu Genius Patreon page is in the description below. You can also support us by subscribing to the Kung Fu Genius on YouTube, liking this video, and sharing it on your social media platforms. When you subscribe on YouTube, don't forget to hit that bell for notifications so you will know as soon as a new episode or a premiere is available for you to watch. For those of us who listen to us on audio, it's a huge help if you don't just rate the podcast, but also write a review wherever you listen to the Kung Fu Genius, such as Apple or Google Podcasts. I really appreciate it. And now back to me.
Welcome to Beardy.
Welcome to
Bruce
Beardy.
Lee Central.
Hey everybody, it's Birdie here. What's going on, guys? Okay, so the guy you're looking at right there, he
Nope.
is a senior extra on the movie Enter the Dragon.
A senior extra. Did you know that extras had ranking? Sir, yes, sir. What is your rank in this film, sir? Senior extra, sir. Yes, sir. All right.
You stop.
He's pointing to Yun Hua.
playing.
All right.
Okay,
Yun Hua.
Yun Hua.
Okay, who's one of the
Yun Hua.
Tatsiu Fok, the Seven Little Fortunes, with Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung. Obviously, a lot of people know Yun Hua from
Yeah.
Kung Fu Hustle. Plays a landlady's husband, and he did a lion's share of Bruce Lee's. Well, he did all the acrobatic stunts in Enter the Dragon, the handsprings and the flip at
Damn,
the
he's
beginning.
good.
That was Yun Hua. And when Bob Wall grabs the leg and he does the backflip. And I've said it before, but like if you ever watch that backflip, you know, when Bob Wall grabs Bruce Lee's foot and then it cuts, it's actually Yun Hua doing the backflip, right? Yun Hua is not just great at acrobatics. He's so good at acting. Because when he does the backflip, first of all, I mean, the reason obviously why they picked him is he had a very similar build to Bruce Lee, very wiry, right? You can see they both have a very similar build.
Got it.
And-
yeah, true.
and he does
Almost the same bone structure.
He does the backflip, and when he lands, you have to watch this. When you watch, you can see it on YouTube. Watch Enter the Dragon. Right after the backflip, because it's done in slow motion, he lands and then he bounces a little bit, and that's Yun Hua. That's not Bruce Lee. And he bounces exactly the way Bruce Lee would. So that's the reason why everyone thinks it was Bruce Lee. Because when he lands, he has that swagger where he kind of like takes one or
Yeah.
two little reset hops, and that's Yun Hua. And then in the beginning, he does the kip up for Bruce Lee when he's fighting Sammo Hung. That's
Yeah.
Yun Hua. And then he does the handsprings and the flip. And when you see he does the handsprings, he flips over the monks and then he lands. The camera continues where he does a couple steps walking off. And when you watch, Yun Hua lands and he walks with that Bruce Lee swagger as he walks away. So Yun Hua is not just somebody who just did a couple flips for Bruce
ain't
Lee.
no one to be
He
fucked
literally
with.
could walk and move exactly like Bruce Lee. Of all the Tatsiu Fok, they always said that Yun Hua was the best mimic. That he could see a style and very quickly imitate it, much more quickly than any of the other guys. Like he would just, like, if he needed to play a certain style for a role or whatever, he could just watch that style and he would be able to do it right away. That's how good he was, all right? But to call him a senior extra stuntman, it's an extra? What the hell are you talking about? What is this?
Heck?
and he is a bully.
A bully? No,
He's been
absolutely
bullied.
not. Okay, so he's now calling Yunhua a bully. Okay, all right. So first of all right.
Here's where it just goes left.
Yunhua. All right, okay. All of the stuntmen on here, maybe with the exception of the one extra who was a triad member and challenged Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he's the
all of
rookie
these
extra.
stunt guys. All right, knew that the only way they're going to get another job, all right, is if they do a good job.
Okay.
All right. So to be on there and try to bully the star, all right, is not really a way to keep your job in Hong Kong, all right?
Oh, no.
Which is also another reason why, when we did that, the problem with the Jean LaBelle stories, right?
Oh, yeah.
The idea that Jean LaBelle was going to come in and rough up Bruce on the set on behalf of the stunt guys, or that the stunt guys were going to rough up Bruce Lee to teach him a lesson. This is literally not how the entertainment industry works, all right? If you go in there and rough up the co-star, I'm sorry, you're not going to be working on that film or that TV show for much longer, right? So this just shows you he's just very little grounding in how this stuff kind of works, right? Yunhua respected the hell out of Bruce Lee, all right?
All right.
Of all the 7 Little Fortunes, Yunhua was probably the closest. Yes, Jackie Chan had done a couple stunts in a couple Bruce Lee movies, but I don't think that they really knew each other that well, and and he liked Sammo Hung and had Sammo Hung work for him a couple times, but I think he really had a close affection for Yunhua because there are photo shoots, primarily the ones in Sai Kung, which I think they took around the time that they were shooting Game of Death, where they're out in a field and he's got all the guys in the karate uniforms, and it's like Lam Ching-ying and Yunhua, all right? You don't see other stuntmen there. Bruce Lee would not be bringing Yunhua to do these extra photo shoots outside if Yunhua was some kind of bully. And those photo shoots were done before Enter the Dragon. All right, so not only is it just factually inaccurate, all right, that this guy, he doesn't, and he goes, this guy, dude, that guy, he has a name. His name is Yunhua. You literally can Google Yunhua. You can listen to Yunhua interviews where he talks about Bruce Lee, and you would know immediately that Beardy is simply just lying. He's pointing to this guy, and he's got no idea who he is, right? And I've also had the chance to have dim sum with one of the stuntmen from Enter the Dragon,
Okay.
with one of the guys in the Yellow Geese, all right? Cheung Wing Han, who had done a bunch of different, he's been a stuntman for a very long time, including for Jackie Chan, but he was also in Fists of Fury and stuff like that. I was actually looking at one of Steve Carriage's books yesterday, and he quotes Cheung Wing Han in there, and I didn't know Cheung Wing Han was in Fists of Fury. And I saw him in there. I was like, wow, like he didn't even mention that. But you know what's funny? Mr. Cheung is like, he's a retired stunt guy. He's been in he was like in Police Story. He was like in all the big bangers in the 80s. He's been in he's done crazy stunts.
Yeah.
But when you meet him, he's much older now, and then he you sit and you talk to him and whatever, and he pulls up his phone. And you know what he shows you on his phone? I was in Enter the Dragon. Think about it, he's been in all these big movies. I think he was even part of that double-decker stunt in Police Story 1 where the double-decker bus stops and then I think he's in that. But you talk to him now, he's like, dude, I was in Enter the Dragon.
Yeah.
All right, now, which was already years before then, right? So and he talked about how good Bruce Lee was to the stuntmen and how close he was and kind of what a mensch he was. All right, so let's see.
Bullying the other extras.
Bullying the other
guys you
Yunhua
see
was
in the
bullying the other
background
extras.
there.
Got it.
He's been going around bullying them during the filming of the movie Enter the Dragon. Now, these guys here in the background
this
are
random guy that he
complete
circles.
noobs. This is their first project, and they simply don't have the guts to go to Bruce Lee or anyone else, one of the producers, to tell them that they're being bullied by this senior extra. So the bullying goes on for a while.
So Yunhua is bullying other extras on the film. They're too afraid to say anything because Yunhua, being kind of a junior stuntman himself, is intimidating them, I guess.
Well,
And
I like how he
then
just
all
circles
of
this
a
guy in the
sudden,
background. He's like,
one
yeah,
of
this guy.
these
It's like, you don't know who that guy
guys
is.
just
Shut up.
had
You don't
enough.
even know the guy you're claiming is
And
the
he
bully who has a
built
name,
up the
Yunhua.
courage to go to Bruce Lee, and he said to Bruce, there's a bully here. He's been bullying us now for weeks. Can you please help us? And Bruce Lee's like, okay. I
Okay.
first
See,
have to
you just smell the bullshit of his story. Bruce Lee's like, okay. Yeah. Is that from a transcript that you're saying that? All right.
It's quite unbelievable.
It's such a folksy
I get
bullshit.
it now. I get it. The Yunhua was bullying all the other stuntmen, not Bruce Lee. He was bullying all the other stuntmen.
Right.
Bruce Lee didn't know about it.
Right.
And
They
this
were too
one
afraid to say
guy
it,
that
yeah.
circled there
Yeah.
went to Bruce Lee and said, "Hey, can you help us?" And Bruce Lee was like, "Oh,
Well,
yeah,
you know who
I
that
got
one
you."
guy circled is?
Who?
It's Beardy.
Yeah.
Like, but like in every story, the person that goes to do this thing, right?
Yeah.
It's him, right? So this is all autobiography.
Right. What if it's like one of those things where we find out what Beardy looks like, and then you see photos back from the 1800s, and he's in it,
Like 12 Monkeys style.
Yes, he's always been there. The truth is, we are all Beardy.
Beardy is Dyson.
Really though?
All right, let's
We
see.
are all Dyson.
Oh, by the
Bruce
way,
Lee-
someone signed up for the Hong Kong tour. All right. Well, we had a bunch of people sign up, but one of the people who signed up, I have this little thing like, is there anything in particular you want to do while we're in Hong Kong? And someone said, I'm down for anything, just as long as there's no Dyson or Dr. Ison.
You better not come to the podcast.
goes around and asks the other extras, the stuntmen, the crew about this, and they all confirm it, that this guy has been going around being a nuisance and bullying the people.
Yeah,
and
Yunhua has
the
gone around being a
extras and the
nuisance.
stuntmen.
You know why? It's like, first of all, none of Beardy's 300, 400,000 followers are gonna know who Yunhua is, because if they believe any of the Bruce Lee bullshit stories that Beardy makes up, then these are not the caliber of Bruce Lee fans who know who Yunhua is, right? But I actually feel like, obviously we know this is Beardy's shtick. He makes up stories.
He's good
all
at
right?
it too.
And people swallow it up because he makes up these fantastical stories, like him and the Bruce Lee Real Fight channel. They just make up bullshit, and people like bullshit. But I actually, the more I listen to this, the more this kind of angers me a little bit, because he took a photo of Yunhua and then he's making up a story, and this is all completely fabricated. There's absolutely zero evidence to even insinuate that this story is real. Obviously, anyone who knows who Yunhua is knows that this story is bullshit. But I actually, this kind of offends me a little bit, to be honest, because Yunhua is one of the legends of Hong Kong films, of Hong Kong stunt work. He's one of the people who respected Bruce Lee, the most Bruce Lee respected him. Yunhua is someone who has done nothing but work hard. Think about it. He was doing stunts at this time, and he's still making movies to this day as either a stunt guy or as an actor or even as a character. He'll do TV, he'll do stunts, he'll do movies, he'll do all this stuff. And when you listen to him in an interview, he often played villains because of his look, like in Dragons Forever, Eastern Condors.
Yes.
But very much like Sekin, the guy who played Han. Sekin, the actor who played Han, in real life was one of the nicest guys. And he wasn't just a villain in Enter the Dragon. Sekin was also like the villain in all of the Kwanta King movies. So he was a famous villain. But Ginzop, as he was called, Uncle Gin, was one of the nicest guys ever. And never had any scandals, never did anything bad. Yunhua is the same. He often played villains, but he's one of the nicest. When you watch him,
sweetheart.
If you watch an interview, you can go and type in Yunhua on YouTube, and there are plenty of interviews with him. He speaks Cantonese; they're subtitled. And when you just see his face, he's like such a happy-go-lucky person. And for Beardy to sacrifice him, of course, Beardy doesn't know. He just took some photo. He has to make up a bullshit story. But to use it on a photo of Yunhua, I have to say, Beardy, go fuck yourself, okay? Go try a little harder next time when you make up a story to not actually use someone who is a real legend of Hong Kong cinema. Right. Because this is fucking offensive, man. You need to cut that shit out.
Why are you messing with the James Brown of Hong Kong cinema? Yes. Cinema.
All right.
Cinema.
Okay, I am coming.
Simmer down now.
To my wit's end here. All right.
Man.
Okay. Let's try one more video. I can't watch this bullshit anymore.
Let's do that one.
I don't know. Let's go. Bruce Lee is found dead on the floor at age 32. All right. He was actually dead on a bed, but on the floor or whatever. Okay, sure.
I think Beardy found him.
Yeah, Beardy found him.
Welcome to Beardy, Bruce Lee Central.
Hey everybody, it's Birdie here. What's going on, guys? Okay, so a few years ago, I made a video about Bruce Lee's cause of death.
Yeah, we reviewed that video last
The
time.
video got tons of views, and I got a lot of love and support from you guys. And so from the bottom of my heart,
Oh, yeah.
I want
That was the video where he said that Bruce Lee trained so hard. He trained like in 1 year, he trained like 10 years worth. Right.
Yeah.
And so basically what he was doing is he was eating away his life because he was like 1 year would be like 10 years. It reminded me of that scene from The Jerk where he's in bed and he's like, the first day felt like 3 days. And the second day felt like 1 week bleeding into 2 days. The third day felt like 4 days. The fifth day, well, that felt like just 1 day because I had to leave to go see my mother. The sixth day, like it just, like he had this like convoluted thing that basically Bruce had overtrained himself to death.
Wow.
All right. And I like how he says like, oh, and I got nothing but love. You hear what a freaking narcissist he is. Yeah. I got nothing but love for this video that I totally made up, which is not fact-based at all.
Pretty sure he went from 10 hours to 17 hours worth of training a day in that video as well.
Oh yeah, he's all over the place.
Thank
I hate
you
when
for
that
supporting
happens.
me and for supporting the channel. Now, the most surprising part of me releasing that video was that I got contacted by the medical community.
He got contacted by, oh look,
Dr.
and look at this.
Ison!
He's Dr. Ison, look, and he has a stock photo of a doctor. I got contacted the medical community.
Wow.
We are the medical community, and we must talk
The
to
whole
you,
community got to
Mr.
him.
Beardy, Mr. Faceless YouTuber.
By physicians, a biologist, and a professor of neurology. Now,
Okay.
they listened
Stock
to
photo.
the video and they saw the same symptoms that I was talking about in my video in their patients. Now, they all agreed with me that the most probable cause of Bruce Lee's death was the one that I talked about in my video.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, so the entire medical community contacted him.
Yo.
And they basically said, the thing you said, we've seen that in our patients, because that's very much like doctors to use confirmation bias and to diagnose someone, in this case Bruce Lee, that they had never treated themselves, because that is very consistent with medical ethics.
And also to watch the Beardy channel.
Yeah, and also that
They all fans.
Can you imagine? I mean, Beardy has like about 400,000 subscribers. There's not one MD in those 400,000. All right, I'll tell you that much.
Dick.
Yeah.
But in 50 years, a lot of progress has been made in biology, in neurology, and now we know a lot more about
Fishopathy.
the brain in general. So me and the professor, we emailed back and forth for a long time, talking about
Do you ever notice that professors never have names? The boxing coach sensei never has a name. The tournaments never have names. They're never years. They're never this professor of medicine from this university named. It's always every single Beardy story is like it's just it's this word salad of hot
I
nonsense.
thought he was about to say something like that, but he didn't.
No. Yeah, and so like, how come none of these people that he always talks about, the people who tell him these stories, the people who interview, like he didn't even know that Ted Thomas, who was a white guy, is not Robert Chiu. All right, okay, like ridiculous.
talking about his symptoms, and it turns out that this neurologist had seen a lot of the same symptoms in his patients, and especially in his patients that were bodybuilders, extreme athletes, or strongmen.
There we go.
Strongman?
Strongman, right? This is basically confirmation bias 101. For even if this was true. All right.
Which it's not.
No medical professional would be like, I've seen this in my patients too. Strongman bodybuilders, they all had this, bro. So that stuff you were saying about how Bruce Lee died, bro. Like,
It's real. It's
I
legit.
really go for that. So look, all right. This is about all the Beardy I can handle for a year. Okay. I can't watch any more. Dude,
I can watch tons of it.
But that's the difference between you and I, all right? Okay? I feel like I need to cleanse my brain and actually read like a book by Steve Carriage or read something legit about Bruce Lee because I feel sullied right now.
So same time next week then?
Yeah, same time next week. Beardy's Bruce Lee bullshit, right? No, man, this stuff just feels so dirty, man. And then talking stuff about Yun Hua and all this... all his medical professionals he talks to, boxing coach sensei that doesn't have a name. This is all bullshit. If you are really interested in Bruce Lee and you want to know real Bruce Lee facts, okay, read a book by John Little. Read a book by Steve Carriage. Read the new Who Wrote the Tao by Dr. James Bishop. There are books out there. Read Matt Pauly's biography on Bruce Lee. Don't spend a minute listening to this pure nonsense that this guy is making. Like, if you actually believe that what Beardy's saying is true, and you subscribe to me, I want you to unsubscribe right now, and I want you to never, ever, ever come anywhere near this corner of the internet, all right?
Oh, no.
Stay over there, okay? If you are subscribed to the Beardy channel, all right, and it's not purely for entertainment purposes or because you like looking at car wrecks, okay? But you go there because there's some hot takes you think that he's the only channel that can give you those things, all right? I want you to seriously consider getting some mental counseling. And that's all I gotta say about that. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of The Kung Fu Genius. As always, don't forget to subscribe to The Kung Fu Genius, hit that bell for notifications, like this episode, and if you have any questions for me for a future episode, go ahead and write them in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.
Word is I'm a kung fu genius. Technique speaks for me, not lineage. Forget Jet Li, cause I'm the one. Many call me seafood, but to you I'm sea gung. And I produce masters. You surpassed us. Your kung fu stiffer than corpse and caskets. City Wing Chun is the house I built. Violate the gate and your blood gets spilt. Alex Richter, always the victor.
Okay.
I'm actually really looking forward to the inevitable trolls that say, Beardy can kick your ass and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode of The Kung Fu Genius. As always, don't forget to subscribe to The Kung Fu Genius, hit that bell for notifications, like this episode, and if you have any
All right, peeps. On today's... Came in too hot with that. All right, peoples. All right, peeps. On today's episode of The Kung Fu Genius, the genius will be answering all sorts of hot nonsense. Will not be answering all right, peeps. All right, peeps. On today's episode of The Kung Fu Genius, the genius will not be answering all sorts of hot nonsense from YouTube. No gems, but lots of
hot nonsense from Beardy.
All right, peeps. On today's episode of The Kung Fu Genius, the genius will not be answering